Hello and welcome to Guy Free Working on Me, a woman's journey to self-awareness. This is a great moment in your life, a moment where you have decided to stop taking care of everyone else and to just start to take care of yourself. Stick with me through these podcasts and we are going to take the best rides of our lives. Listen up. Guy Free Working on Me is not meant to be a permanent lifestyle. It is meant to be a time in your life where you stop basing your worth, your happiness, and your self-esteem on having a man at your side. This is going to be an all-out redeciding of who you are, who you want to be, and what you feel inside. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, ladies. I'm Shauna Hoffman. Thank you for letting me pop into your life today. And thank you for all of the great feedback on the last podcast, Getting Through a Hard Day's Night. I know so many of you are struggling at this time, and I'm so glad that I could lighten your day even for a moment. As promised, today we're going to tackle one of the hardest things we need to do in order to claim back our own peace. It's truly the ultimate of healing tools, forgiveness. Ah, yes. We have all heard the myriad of quotes on forgiving. You know, the ones on forgiving others and the best ones on forgiving ourselves. So today, I'm actually going to delve into some of these thoughts and philosophies and hope you find something that resonates with you. Let's start with what is forgiveness. I like to define it as a conscious, deliberate decision to let go of feelings of hurt, resentment, or vengeance towards someone who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness or not. Okay, I love that last part. I'm going to say it again. Whether they actually deserve your forgiveness or not. The definition goes on to say that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it absolutely does not mean condoning or excusing the painful offense. So let's start with the first part of that definition. A conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards someone who has harmed you. What this means is that forgiveness is a change in perception from holding anger or resentment towards that person who hurt you to letting go. And how we get to this change in perception is the biggest part of the journey. Sometimes it comes because you're just tired of holding on to the pain. Sometimes holding the pain or anger is hurting you way more than it's hurting them. Half the time, the person who hurt us isn't even in our life anymore. Yet it's been too hard to forget the wounds they gave us. I have this analogy I like to use. Imagine that the wound that they gave you is a thorn in your hand. God, they hurt you so much that you hold so tight to that thorn. You squeeze it in your hand. Sometimes the pain of that thorn is what we hold on to because we can't let it go or throw it away yet. We feel that if we do, we would be giving them a free pass. But the truth is, the only person who is hurting from holding that thorn is you. You are wounding your own hand as you grasp so tightly onto the hurt. Now let's remember the second part of the definition of forgiveness and apply it to this analogy. We can let go of that thorn. We can open our hand, take that thorn out, and throw it away, regardless of whether that person actually deserves your forgiveness or not. And just because you're throwing it away, it doesn't mean that you're forgetting, condoning, or excusing what they did to you. What you are doing is forgiving through a change in perception that's allowing you to relieve your hand of carrying that thorn anymore. This is for you. This act of forgiveness is not for them. They never even have to know you've forgiven them. Forgiveness does not have to be a two-way communication. Forgiveness is an act that you give to yourself to free yourself from the pain, the sadness, the replaying of the memories, and exhaustion of holding that thorn in your life any longer. So let's be honest here. How easy is this really to do? The truth is there are varying levels of forgiveness because there are varying levels of hurt or wounds we've endured. You see, it depends on the level of hurt we've received or the level of hurt we have inflicted on others. Okay. That last sentence we're going to leave for a little later in the podcast. Let's start with how we forgive someone who has deeply hurt us. When we're in the aftermath of a wound from someone, it is virtually impossible to find a way to forgive them. Chances are you're still so angry you've not even gotten to the place of feeling the hurt or the pain yet. There's a model that says this. Anger covers hurt. Hurt covers sadness. Sadness covers love. Damn it. Do you mean that underneath the anger I have at someone that there's way down deep love? Well, more than likely. The only way that you can feel the level of hurt or sadness that you feel is because of the level of love you once felt. Okay, I know that's heavy. I don't even expect you to agree with it. And again, I always preface this. If you were physically or mentally abused by someone, this model may not be the one that is anyway appropriate for you. I have a friend who shared with me something. It's something that she learned while practicing forgiveness. Forgiving someone doesn't mean we need to go back to what the relationship was before the hurt. It doesn't wipe the slate clean. It becomes a new understanding, a new awareness. It may be that now you protect yourself from that person in a totally new way. Forgiveness and letting go is your way of making new constructs around what kind of relationship you want with this human. Once you've forgiven and set your own heart free, you can then set new and healthy boundaries with them that make you feel safe. It may mean having this person in your life, or it may mean walking away from that person forever. But you will be the one to decide what it is. Remember that I said at the beginning of this podcast that this is one of the hardest lessons in self-awareness. Well, it is also, I believe, one of the final frontiers in finding peace after the breakup of a relationship. Now let's talk about another thing that affects forgiveness, our ego. The first thing I like to help my clients with is differentiating if their ego is hurt or their heart. Let's think about this. Were you already on the way out of the relationship, but the ex is the one that pulled the plug? Were you miserable, but the ex was the one who walked out before you did? This is one of the ways we tend to punish ourselves. We don't want to see that they may have done us a favor. Instead, by seeing how wronged we were by them, we can blame them for the downfall of the relationship. And often it's one incident. They cheated on us or lied to us or stole from us that finally causes the breakup. But if you look at the reality of what the relationship was before that moment, you may see that you were emotionally gone already, way before that happened. So, where does forgiveness fit into this scenario? Maybe forgiving yourself for not getting out sooner? For not taking the lead to your own happiness? Remember, part of becoming self-aware is looking at yourself and taking responsibility for your mistakes in a relationship. And damn, that is really hard sometimes. It sure is easier when we can just blame the other person or just want them to beg for our forgiveness or tell us how they hurt us. But the minute you can look at yourself and your actions, whether it's with a mate, family member, friend, and see your part of the conflict, then the world, your heart, and your soul will open up for healing. And then you can finally let go. Now, let's clarify and talk about those of you who were blindsided. There are many women who were totally committed to the relationship. Women who tried and gave and loved your partner, but they still cheated on you or stole from you or lied to you. And you trusted them or loved them so much that you were blindsided when their truth arose. Often when this happens, you get angry at yourself for not seeing this person for who they really were earlier on. You're angry at them for the harm they did, for breaking your heart. You may be angry with them because they left without even trying to fix the relationship. As you try to move towards forgiveness, it's easier if you can accept all sides of the truth. I just want you to ask yourself, if you had seen signs of the downfall of your relationship, would you have left? Is there any chance that you were in denial about them because you didn't want to face the truth and have to make that decision? Fact. There are relationships and marriages that actually go on seeming happy and normal, and then the rug gets pulled out from under them because the other person all of a sudden changed. If this is you, more than likely they were changing behind your back and not showing you. So when that new person showed up in your living room and said they were leaving, the shock that you experienced was overwhelming. Being self-aware means not being on remote control, and that means not letting your relationships be on remote control either. I offer you the opportunity to look at your relationship and see if there were clues you missed along the way. More than anything, I don't want you to go through the same kind of hurt in a relationship again. Okay, back to forgiveness. Every one of you listening has different levels of hurt, betrayal, and experiences. And they could be from a mate, a friend, parent, family member, or even a stranger. So I'm going to touch on one thing that's important on this journey. The first step on that model I shared with you before is to make sure that you are not so caught up in the anger that you are not allowing yourself to feel the hurt. And if you are not feeling the hurt, you cannot feel the sadness. I need you to get to the hurt, then to the sadness. Because once you feel the sadness, you can reflect on your own right to be loved. When you finally get to the point that you know your overwhelming right to be loved by someone with integrity and heart, then you have taken your power back from the person who has hurt you, and you have affirmed how unbelievably lovable you are. I love this quote. Forgiveness is an act of the will, and the will can function regardless of the temperature of the heart. That's Corrie ten Boom. Mahatma Gandhi said, "The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong." So now let me give you just a few of the simple tools I can on this journey to being a strong, healthy woman able to forgive. Number 1, you need to stay in the moment. So much of our pain and our sadness comes from reliving the past. If you're going to relive the past and the hurt, I offer you to do it for a reason. Do it so that you can take time to self-reflect and see the value of forgiving the past and letting it go. One of the best concepts from Eckhart Tolle was the idea that sadness comes from living in the past or living in the future. If you're going to replay the past, give yourself a really good reason to do so. And if forgiveness is it, then use it. Number 2, what would be the best part of letting go of this pain and forgiving this person? I call it the payoff. What is the payoff for you doing this? Will it allow you to finally be in the present? Will it allow you to forgive yourself along the way? Will it bring down your depression? If you still have to be around this person, will it gain back your feeling of control? Number 3, realize right now that you have a choice. You can hold on to this wound, or you can start to do the work to release it. You can start the journey to this change in perception. You can start the journey to forgiveness. You can start the journey to peace. Remember that forgiveness is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. I love this Mark Twain quote. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. I'm going to let you interpret that one for yourself. Ladies, I hope for you the most beautiful fragrance of violets. I wish for you no more thorns in your beautiful, delicate, but strong hands, heart, and soul. I wish for you kindness towards yourself and peace in your heart. Be good to yourselves until I pop into your lives once again. Thank you for joining me today on the Guy Free Podcast. My hope is that you leave this podcast inspired, fired up, and ready to take that next step on the magical journey of self-awareness. And then you come back and join us again. Oh, and if you can do me a quick favor, please leave me a 5-star review over on iTunes. I gain so much from reading the reviews and getting feedback from my listeners. Each week, I'm going to choose one special person who's left me a review to win my book, Guy Free Working on Me. That was the book that started it all. Make sure you add your name to the review, and I'll reach out to you if you're the winner. Thanks again for spending your time with me today. Be sure to visit me on the Guy Free Working on Me Facebook page and on workingonme.com for past episodes and insight into the fabulous journey to you.